What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Submission Fishing Show. Hope y'all doing good. Wait for a couple people to roll in here before we get the show started. Cave Dog, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you on I guess October. Gonna hit up the trip. Andre Oos, what's going on? Kiwi Reacts. What's going on, dude? Glad you could join us. No, I've been gone a couple weeks, but back again. Got a good show. Also kind of a depressing show for all you guys, but yeah, there's still a chance to fight, but we're going to go over the details. Give it a few minutes, see if some more people hop in here. Mel, what's going on, man? How you doing? Posting the good content as usual. You guys check out his Instagram channel. It's good stuff. Yeah, guys, on everybody on Instagram, we're about to go live on YouTube here. So if you want to check us out, come hit us up. Captain Dan, Oos from raining upstate New York motocross weekend. Man, you're all over the place. Do they at least like they fly you around and everything, or you drive around in like a tour bus? Who was it? John Madden that was like he had that big tour bus, remember? Because he was afraid to fly. That's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, it's about to get more raining. That's for damn sure. Especially with Hurricane Debbie. Or I don't think it's a hurricane anymore, probably a tropical storm, something like that. But yeah, it kind of made things crazy over here in Florida. But it's since passed. What's going on, guys? Instagram, hit us up on YouTube. Come join the show. We're going to get started here in a little bit. Hopefully everybody's good out there. Y'all been fishing or what? Hopefully getting bit. No, we didn't really get hit. We kind of, so Debbie went like, although to be fair, I'll talk about it like when we start the show. It's kind of funny. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started now. Welcome everybody to the Submission Fishing Live podcast. I'm your host Muto. Glad you could join us. Welcome back. Sorry I've been gone for a couple weeks. First one, I had a Salt Strong meeting a couple weeks ago, and normally I try to do like a recorded podcast. I didn't have one going, and then last week I went offshore with Kevin and had all intentions of coming back and doing the show, but it just got too late. We were out there way too long. We went like 2 hours out and just got back, had filet fish, had to fillet the fish and all that stuff. But yeah, it was good. Kiwi Reacts. So did we get hit? Yeah, we were talking about Hurricane Debbie. I mean, that was one thing too, is I'm up here in Jacksonville. What's crazy is this is legit the first day I've seen the sun in like 4 days. So this is new to me, you know, being a lifelong Californian. This was really like the first hurricane. We didn't really get it up in Jacksonville. Debbie pushed just north of us. We got a ton of rain, like I said, for like 4 days. It seemed like there was no sun. It just rained, lots of wind, but it wasn't like we didn't get the brunt of it at all. You know, we didn't get hit hard. Sarasota seemed like it got it the worst, even though that's not even where like the hurricane landed. It kind of just brushed past it, but the rain is typically the problem. It's not so much the wind. Most of the homes out here are built to withstand the wind. Even the windows, I mean, it's like building codes. You know, in like California, most modern stuff is built to withstand like earthquakes and stuff like that, right? Everything's strapped. The way the framing is built, the codes, and even more recently, stuff is built even for like fire. So they like combat fire and earthquakes. Same thing here. It's kind of like things are built to withstand hurricanes. It's not the wind is the issue, but it's the rain. When the water just sits and it dumps and it dumps and it dumps. That was kind of the issue with Sarasota. And it rained here for like 3 days. 2 days it was kind of bad, but like I said, it passed north of us. It's hitting the Carolinas a lot harder. But we were pretty good. You know, we got prepared and everything. Went out, got water, tested the generator, filled up with gas, and we were ready to go because you just never know when the hurricane is like forming or when it's a tropical storm before it hits a hurricane. You don't really know which way it's going to move. That's the unpredictable thing. So it's like if you wait too long and it shifts and it hits you, you're in trouble. So we kind of like got ready for it, and then it pushed out and went north, and so we were pretty good. What's going on, guys? On Instagram, hit us up on YouTube if you want to check out the live show. Hope you all doing well. But no, Kiwi, we were good. We were fortunate, didn't get hit too hard. Captain Dan said, took my boat out, paddy hopping, no one was home. Yeah, man, that's too bad. Joe Fishing 87, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Are the patties still south? Or are they starting to move? Well, I guess the patties are probably everywhere, but I guess the question would be, are the fish still south down in Mexico, or are they pushing up? QB says I got hit with barrel 2 weeks ago. Damn, with no power. That's brutal, man. 2 weeks with no power in your neighborhood. Like that's a long time, especially in today's day and age with like the internet and everything else. I mean, honestly, a couple hours without power is like it's pretty bad, especially when you're out like without internet. It's like, what do you do? We become so spoiled, especially a lot of these young guys. Back in my day, I grew up. There was no internet. A lot of you guys know that too. It was just like, and now you think about like not having it, no cell phones, none of that stuff. Crazy. What's going on, guys? Instagram. Hope you're all doing well. But yeah, we survived the hurricane. What's funny was I went out to fish um yesterday because it's been raining this whole time. It's been windy. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out and fish out my backyard. I like set up the green lights and everything. And it was probably 9:30. It hadn't rained all day. It had kind of passed over. It was still kind of overcast. And I go out and sure enough, dude, it like 3 minutes later just starts dumping and pouring. The thunder came out. It's like I didn't even get a chance to fish. So I had to go back in and just let it do its thing. I guess it just wasn't quite done. It's just crazy, man. That's the weather for you. Just different problems at different places. But yeah, it's moving north now. I mean, unfortunately, I think Carolina's getting hit pretty bad. And it sucks. But yeah, we're out on the other side. What's going on, guys? Instagram, how's it going? Scott Nishimura. We're on hit us up on YouTube. If you guys want to see us, come join the live chat, be a part of the show. So yeah, on today's show, we're going to talk about unfortunately some things going on. Captain Dan actually sent me this story, and I've been doing some investigations on it about some of the MPAs in California, kind of what it means for the fishing. They're proposing like expansions and stuff like that, and really, I mean, just terrible news if you're a fisherman. But we got time, we got stuff to go over, and hopefully we can figure some of that out. So that'll kind of be our main talking point. We'll hop into here in a few minutes. Uh, let's see. Announcements wise, don't really have much. You guys, we got the submission C. If you guys want to submission at sea, if you want to fish with us, fish with me. I'll be coming back into California. I believe October 23rd through the 25th. We're going to be fishing off the Voyager. We're going to do a 2-day trip, maybe 2 nights, but I know it's the 23rd to the 25th, so kind of like a 2.5 day. But we're going to leave late, go out there, see what we can get on. And the idea is kind of look for bluefin tuna, but you never know. If the patties are up and the yellowtail fishing is good, we'll probably go for that. But we're also going to look at some like rockfish zones that are, really haven't been fished in like a long time. Some stuff that they've opened up, some really deep rock fishing. Do some jig fishing. So if you guys are interested in slow pitch jigging, you want to learn, more than happy to teach you. I'll be on there. Meals are included. We're going to do um, I'll give seminars, all that stuff. Or if you guys just want to learn, I'm there to help you guys and make sure you guys are catching fish more than anything. So if that sounds interesting to you, 2 days on a boat, you can go to submissionfishing.com, go to submission at sea, choose your bunk right there on the site. So, the sooner you get in, the better bunk you'll get to choose. Real Green says for beginners too. Yeah, it's I think 875 is a total. So it's 2 days. Meals are included. I'll give you guys some jigs. Usually we have raffles and stuff. We usually do every year we do like a shirt, or this year we might do like a hat, like a custom hat, stuff like that. But yeah, for beginners too, I'm going to be on the trip. So if you've never jigged before, dude, I'll be there, show you. We got other guys, lots of great slayers going to be on the boat. You don't have to fish jigs. There will be bait and stuff too. But yeah, we'll help you out. And don't worry about it if you're a beginner. Even if you want to learn, dude, we'll we'll teach you everything we know, get you bit. So it's actually a great trip for beginners. A lot of cool people show you how it's done. So yeah, check it out. Submissionfishing.com. Oh, noodle fishing in general. Yeah. It's a good trip. 2 days at sea. It's long, but it's fun, man. It's a good experience, but you get to hit those grounds that like you don't normally ever get to fish for, and get a bunch of different species. And with that much time, basically you fish like the whole time. You kind of just sleep when you can, but um, you get to kind of go after, what's ever out there. But yeah, definitely don't feel like you have to be experienced. You don't. I mean, I haven't caught nothing, haven't caught S yet, but lost a lot of jigs. Yeah, man. It happens. Once you get the hang of it, you'll get it down. The biggest thing about fishing, I know what everybody tells you, is just finding the fish is the hardest part. It doesn't matter how good the jigs are, it doesn't matter, you know, really about anything. Is the fish, finding the fish is like number one. Once you find the fish, then it becomes a matter of getting them to bite and putting, the right bait in front of them and stuff like that. But I mean, you'll get it. That's just the good thing about being on a boat though, is the captain, um, his whole his whole thing is putting you on fish, right? It's not like when you ask people around, nobody wants to give up their spots, burn spots. Fishing can be really secretive. The benefit to going on a boat is the captain has a real vested interest to make sure you're getting bit. They want people to catch fish. They're in the business of getting people to catch fish. So they do everything they can to put you on the spots and get it done. But yeah, man, we'd love to have you. Check it out. Submissionfishing.com is submission at CTAB, and come fish with us. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. So you can see the beginning of the title is basically California is basically coming for the fishing grounds again. And we've got this article here. Captain Dan kind of put me on this one, and I was able to check it out. It was proposal to expand San Diego's 11 marine protected areas, would make it the largest in the county. This would help wildlife off Point Loma thrive, but miles gained would be miles lost for local fishermen. Yeah, that's an understatement. Two environmental groups. So this is the key here that you need to remember. Two environmental groups want to expand Cabrillo State Marine Reserve from less than half of a square mile to nearly 16. So think about that. Half of a square mile to 16 miles. That's not doubling the MPA. We're not talking like half a square mile to 1 square mile, doubling an MPA. That's like 33 times the size of the expansion that they're proposing. The reason is the kelp. The longest chief concern of the scientists, and then fishermen and other ocean goers. Like underwater rainforest, kelp helps support hundreds of species that live within and above them, and we depend on them for oxygen. They're needed for a healthy bio ecosystem. They help to mitigate climate change, but they've been vanishing along the California coast. Here's another key point. Scientists aren't sure the precise reasons why they're disappearing, and the trends vary along the coast, but still, we're going to close it down to fishermen anyways, right? Even though they have stated they have no idea, what's causing it. We know what's causing it. It's the changes. It's like the weather changes, stuff changes. There's all kinds of problems about why it disappears. Climate change is believed to be a factor. Kelp flourishes in colder water. The loss of predatory species can throw the kelp forest ecosystem out of balance, threaten its survival, and pollution can act as fertilizer to feed algae, which sucks up the oxygen and blocks light kelp that needs to grow. The marine protected areas were established, some 12 years ago. So this is really a huge thing. One other point, I guess, that I will get to down here at the bottom. Here's a whole article that I'll link to you guys. You can see what's next, what they're planning. But the gist of it is basically they're trying to expand the marine protected zone. Well, if you guys don't know what the MPAs are in California, the marine protective zone is these zones in California that were established to basically where you can't fish in. Some zones are different. Like I know in like Dana Point and stuff like that, the zones are like just like you can't take mussels or like I don't want to say like crawfish or urchins and stuff like that is what they're trying to prevent. But here, what they're talking about is expanding the zone. And I'll see if I can bring it up here. Uh, Sorry about that. So you can see here, let me bring it up. If you guys are just listening to this, I'll try to explain it the best that I can. This is the interactive zone, and this is primarily what they're looking at. Even though this environmental group is kind of proposing that, I think they want to expand all of them or look into basically looking at all the MPAs. The one that's in question is down here. This is the Cabrillo MPA. This is on the tip of Point Loma. What's going on, guys, on Instagram? If you want to check us out on YouTube, you can kind of see what we're talking about. So this is the tip. This is less than half of a square mile, I guess, is the current MPA. This one's been established now almost 10 years. I think 2012 is when the MPAs got put in. But what they're proposing is a 16-mile increase. For those of you guys that don't know, 16 miles is basically, they want to go to Sunset Cliffs. That's up here if you can see my mouse. I think Sunset Cliffs is right here, like the Sunset Cliffs Cave. So if they were to expand the 16-mile radius, you're basically going to lose fishing over this whole kelp bed from the pipe everywhere up, halfway up to Point Loma, almost all the way up to basically Mission Beach. Now, you guys are familiar with this, done the pickle run down in Southern California. That's where we do a kayak run from Mission Bay all the way down back up to San Diego Bay. It's a huge run. It takes all days. It's like a 12-hour trip. But this is the primary fishing zone. Not only that, it's the primary fishing zone for a lot of people for kelp, because when you come up north here, you'll notice that much of La Jolla is already in a protected zone. You got this corner in La Jolla, which they took away, and then you've got this big chunk. And then you've got, this piece up here in Encinitas where you can't touch either. But they want to expand this one down in Point Loma for 16 miles when it's currently only a half mile wide. And this is really no joke, guys. Like this is something that's been already a plague for fishermen. It's a land grab by the government, and they don't have any right to do this, but yet they still do it. They're not talking about kind of managing the thing and what the problem is. The real problem with this and with the kelp is a lot of it is runoff, sewage runoff. There's lots of issues that aren't addressed. The urchins eat the stems. The sea urchins are a big problem. We know they eat the kelp. You get runoff from the rain. You get all these things. Water temperature rises when you have hurricanes come up. A lot of things contribute, to the kelp thinning. But what they want to do is just shut it down. The one thing that they always go after is the fishermen, even though it's just baseless accusations. So they close it down. They'll be like, oh, well, we're going to close it down so nobody can use it. But who uses it? Anglers use it. And that's the whole point. So when we go back to the story, one of the important things I want you guys to understand is that they're going to have a meeting on this thing. So you guys still have a voice in this. The California Fish and Game Commission. So the California Fish and Game Commission will ultimately decide on any Cabrillo expansion, along with 19 petitions for other. So there's 19 petitions for other changes for the marine protected areas. So it's not just Cabrillo. Cabrillo seems to be the biggest one, that obviously that affects most people down in San Diego, or any people that like to go down and fish San Diego. It meets this month to begin considering them. So no changes have been put in, but they're going to consider these. So what happens is these environmental groups put out these petitions to shut down MPAs. What they do, it's basically like, it's a scam. It's like a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. It's like these people, they run these petitions. They're part of the environmental groups. They move it up to the government. The government agrees with them. It's just, they put it in. They all work together, to get these things closed down. Although I don't think they name the environmental groups putting forth these petitions. Of all those petitions, 3 would affect 5 local MPAs. Uh, None of them as drastically as the proposal for Cabrillo. The others would change the boundaries of Swami's state marine conservation area, as also allow commercial sea urchin harvesting and classification changes in Formosa Slough, San Alejo Lagoon, and Bateguitos Lagoon. That's up in Carlsbad. Already, the State Department of Fish and Wildlife has reviewed the petitions and given the commission recommendations. The commission, which creates the regulations the agency enforces, has been sorting them by priority, with the less controversial proposals set to discuss first. And so here's the important thing, guys. The commission meets August 14th and 15th. The public can attend, meeting in person or on Zoom, so you guys can make a Zoom call too. Can be emailed beforehand. Details are available, and then the link is on there, and I'll put it in there. fgc.california.gov. So I think it's really important that you guys go have your voice heard about these things. They're going to have public hearings on it, but if you guys don't do anything, nobody says anything, nobody does nothing, you're going to lose a huge portion of fishing in San Diego off of Point Loma, and it's going to be a big deal. It's nothing short of a land grab. We all know it's all government. It's basically illegal as far as I'm concerned. We have a right to fish there, and it's going to be stolen from you, just like the MPAs were stolen. You know, they're supposed to do a 10-year review, I think, which was up in 2022. But unfortunately, nothing ever happens of it. For those of you guys that don't know, the MPAs were imposed in Southern California, and they've already taken 16% of the fishable water in Southern California off of the coast. 16% already just in the first go round. If this one goes from a half mile up to 16 miles, which they're proposing, square miles, I don't even know what percentage that puts it at, but it's going to take another chunk of percentage out of the actual fishable water that you as Californians can actually fish. Public water in the ocean that they're just going to take away and say you can no longer fish. Because they don't know what's happening with the kelp. They have no correlation. They have nothing to link it to fishermen being the problem, or, you know, what have you. They just say, oh, close it down. We don't know what's happening. Just close it down. We know that the real goal is to get rid of fishing. People hate fishermen, especially in California. They're public enemy number one of the environmentalists. You know, all these Greenpeacers basically hate fishermen. It's just true, and I really hate to say it, but they're coming after your land. 16% is already gone, and now they're coming for another. If you guys have ever fished in San Diego, in that area, everybody fishes that part of the kelp, and they basically want to take that all away. So if you're willing to cut out and resign yourself to the fact that you can't basically fish from Mission Bay down anymore on that Point Loma area, pretty much everybody in this chat that I know has fished there and continues to fish there. They're going to be hearing about it. So the environmental groups are putting a petition, and it's being heard by the powers that be. So do yourself a favor, you know, go to these meetings, check them out on Zoom, and basically get involved. You guys join the CCA. You know, I was a big proponent of the CCA. I'm a member. Of course, you guys know I live in Florida now. I'm a member of the CCA Florida. I think I'm still a member of the CCA California. You know, and pay there, but you guys got to get involved. People that are actually honestly concerned about preserving the fishery and the coast, that aren't just in it for, you know, trying to shut things down. You guys know, I've said it before. Nobody wants to preserve the fishery more than fishermen. If we can't fish and there are no fish, then we have nothing. People like me that make jigs, have a business in the fishing industry. If there are no fish, I go out of business. If there are no fish, none of us get to fish anymore. You know, we all know that. Nobody wants to protect the fishery more than actual fishermen do. Just like loggers, you know, loggers here in the U.S. that have licenses to do it correctly. They lease land, they cut it down, they plant trees, they plant more trees. When they come back, they have places to cut down again. They plant double the trees that they cut down, because they know if you cut down all the trees, there's going to be nothing left. There's going to be no money made. So they plant the trees as they go back. Fishermen are the same way. I don't know any true fishermen that actually love the sport, or harvest them or eat them. You know, I eat a lot of fish. I eat it for food. It's not just for sport. I catch and release a lot, but I eat a ton of fish. I feed my family with it. Nobody wants to see that go away. But just closing down entire swaths of the ocean um, that belong to the people is not the right way to do it. So I implore all of you guys, make your voice be heard, and make sure you do something about it. And you got to fight, otherwise you're going to lose it. Just like you've already lost 16%. They're just going to keep taking more and more until basically there's no fishing left. Uh, in California. I know it sounds dramatic, but if they can just take it away that quickly, what are you going to do? It's pretty scary. Alex the Fisher dude, what's going on, man? Oos, welcome to the show. Taipan Rods, Oos, welcome. What's going on, Simon? Yeah, Cave Dog said the purple urchins. Yeah, they are a problem, And even like purple urchins, right? You can make the case, like if you're saying, hey, sheephead are eating the purple urchins and we need to pump the brakes on fishing sheephead. It's like, that's kind of an acceptable thing. You can make that case. Like, hey, let's tighten down the restrictions on California sheephead because they're eating the urchins and the urchins are destroying. You guys don't know they eat the root. Kelp sticks by just one little root on the ground, and the urchin eats the root, and then the kelp breaks off and dies. So the urchins are, a big problem. But those are things I think people can agree on. We can do stuff like that instead of shutting it down. You're going to shut down all of calico fishing, and all that stuff that basically lives in the kelp just because you don't know what's happening. You're just going to close it down, and they have the 10-year review, and really like nothing came of it. The whole thing, there's a whole report you guys can read on it. And it was basically like, oh, we don't know. It's like, it's working. We just got to keep doing it. But of course they have to say that, right? They cannot say, here's the thing. What if the 10-year review comes around and they say, this is working great. All the life has come back. The kelp has grown. Everything's wonderful. So what's going to happen? Fishermen are going to say, okay, it works. We'll now open the fishery again. You guys preserved it and brought it back. Open it, maybe with some more regulation on what can be fished. So they're not going to say that. Also, they can't say, oh, it's a disaster. Nothing's working. Nothing got done. Because then what's going to happen? Then fishermen are just going to say, well, if it's not working, open the MPAs because you're not doing anything. So they can't say anything. They don't say anything because either way, it's like it's a lose-lose. All they want to do is keep the land for themselves and shut it down and keep fishermen out of it. So this report comes out that they're supposed to survey and reconsider every 10 years. That was the agreement with the MPA. It was that every 10 years they were going to do a review and then kind of give the thing. But the whole review is it's a farce. It's just like, oh, well, it's doing good, but we need more time. We'll see in another decade. We'll see what happens. They just kick the can down the road. No decision is ever going to be made. Nobody's ever going to agree or put a stake in the ground and say, yeah, this is what's happening. Once they get the land grab, they're not going to let go. But it's coming, guys. This is serious business. You need to act on it. Petition to shut down those environmental groups. Yeah, I think fishermen need to petition to get rid of MPAs and stuff like that, because these people are petitioning to expand the MPAs, and take the land. We need to petition to get rid of the MPAs, just as hard because these people don't sleep and they're not going to stop. Every time we fight, there's the 30 by 30 where they wanted to take 30% of the land, 30% of the ocean and protect it. That kind of got slowed down. The MPA, or not the MPA, the CCA did a great job fighting that. But still, it comes up. It never really goes away. You got to continue the fight. These people don't sleep. And when we're sleeping, real conservationists for fishing, they're still working. We think one battle's over and you get lulled into this false sense of security. Well, they keep pushing. And especially when it gets quiet, they try to slide these things over the rug. I haven't heard anybody talk about this. Captain Dan brought this to me, but I don't see any fishing sites talk about it. I don't see it on Instagram anywhere. I see nobody raising the alarm. All these fishing channels, all these people that have these influencers, this just flies under the radar. That's how it happens. It takes this news story to put it out. And luckily we've seen it, but that's how quiet it goes. And before you know it, they try to hold these meetings when nobody really realizes it. And then you wake up one day and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we got petitioned for it. And we looked at it. We're going to expand these MPAs. So don't let it happen, guys. Don't sleep. We definitely got to fight these things. Cave Dog says not one more inch. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Fishing for memory is enough. Enough is enough, but it's never enough for them, man. Open OB Pier. Yeah, hell yeah. Kick Shop, what's going on, man? Cave Dog says renew your membership to the CCA. Yeah, I mean, you got to do something. And um, one thing that I can say that I've heard before is like, even if you can't fight, like, you can't go to these meetings. A lot of people can't, right? You've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got to support the people that can fight. So you've got to join the CCA. You got to put your money where your mouth is and support people that are in the fight, in the trenches. And that is a way of fighting as well. So maybe you can't do all these things and go be boots on the ground. There are still ways to support this stuff, so get involved. And even if it's just awareness, post this stuff on your Instagram, guys. Make sure people are aware of this. It's got to be public. The more people have to know about it, the community has to know about these things. Um, Otherwise, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. It's scary, man. It's scary how quickly some of this stuff does. All they take is a review, and if they go, oh yeah, we look at this petition, and we think that's a good idea. So 16 more miles off of Point Loma gone, just like that. Very scary if you're a fisherman, and it's definitely just not the right way to go about things. So keep an eye on that, guys, and don't let yourself don't get complacent, in the fight for fishing. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but unfortunately it is. One of the things too that I can just segue into this is, you guys have, and I'll put this in the chat as well. Let me bring up another page here. And this is basically a simple article from the California Constitution. And this is what's crazy to me, and how fishermen's rights just get tossed to the side. California Constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights, Section 25. You guys need to remember this. The people shall have the right to fish upon and from the public lands of the state and in the waters thereof, expecting upon lands set aside for fish hatcheries, and no land owned by the state shall ever be sold or transferred without reserving in the people the absolute right to fish thereupon. No law shall ever be passed making it a crime. Listen to this. No law shall ever be passed making it a crime for the people to enter upon public lands within this state for the purpose of fishing in any water containing fish that have been planted therein by the state, provided by the legislator. Maybe the statute provided for the season when the conditions are under different species may be taken. California actually has a constitutional protected right to fish, which is pretty amazing. I'm up here in Florida now. Florida doesn't even have this enshrined in their constitution. It's actually on the ballot this year that they're trying to get it basically put on the ballot to enshrine fishing and hunting rights in the Constitution of Florida. California already has that in their constitution, written in 1910. Yet somehow it just gets passed over. You have a right to fish constitutionally in California, that they cannot take these lands, but yet still they take go try to fish in an MPA and see what happens. Even though you have a constitutional right to fish there, they just take it away. It's just nonsense. Just don't tread on anglers, guys. That's why, I made those stickers and those shirts. You can't let it happen if you love to fish. Just remember your rights, and we got to fight for them and push for them. Especially in California, it's just, it gets slipped away, minute by minute. And it's really sad. And even though I'm a resident. So somebody was asking, why do I care? What do you have you're a resident of Florida now. I'm a resident of Florida. Currently, within my last 9 months or something, I've been out here. I lived in California for 41 years. I grew up in the Inland Empire, lived in Palm Desert, Palm Springs area for like 6 years, and then I spent 15 years in San Diego. But let me tell you something. I still own property in California. I own a commercial building. I own apartments. I own a big piece of land in California too that's not developed on. I still pay more in California property taxes than probably most people pay in state income tax. I'm still vested in California. I'm still a property owner in California. Even though my residency is not there, I still pay taxes there, and damn, still have a say in what happens in California. If I'm paying taxes in California, you're damn right. I'm still, even though I'm not a resident, I'm a resident of Florida. I'm still a taxpayer in California and still own land in California. So I may live here, but I still have investment there. I still have a reason to be there. I still own property there. I'm still a taxpayer in California, even though I'm a resident of Florida now. So um, that's the answer to that. Is I may not live there anymore, but I'm still a property owner there and still have investment in what happens. And ultimately, if it's a fishing right issue, it doesn't matter where I'm from. I don't care if it's going to be in Texas, um, California, New York, New Jersey, Alaska. If it needs to be said and fishing rights are on the line, I'm going to be talking about it under any state. But unfortunately, you know damn well, California is unfortunately the hotbed for a lot of anti-fishing regulations, and it seems to be the place where a lot of our attention has to be drawn, unfortunately. So yeah, just bringing that to your attention, guys. Check out the MPAs. If you guys want to know more, you can go to the official site, California Fish and Wildlife. They've got the whole thing about what is MPAs, what they're proposing, um, all this stuff. You know, if you really want to look into it, just educate yourselves, spread the word. My job here is just make sure everybody's getting the word out as far as the MPAs go, and make sure that your fishing rights are protected. Bay Bass and Brew, what's going on, man? Rod spec suggestions for 10 to 20 gram jigs for spotties. Just anything light. You know, I actually like spinning rods for stuff that low, 10 to 20 grams. You don't necessarily need a specific slow pitch rod for like the bay fishing so much for using the micros. Just anything light, any like kind of light bass rod. You want it really kind of parabolic. I like them a little more slower, so you don't want the fast tip. And yeah, just kind of like a medium action, super light rod. Anything from like say 8 to 15 pound test. Spinning reels, what I like, but it's not that. That's probably where the least like technical you need to get, because you're not really vertical fishing so much. Dave Morgan CPA says join CCA California, help it fight. Yeah, definitely. Uh, you heard guys using crankbait rods. Yeah, you could. A crankbait rod, I think, probably a little too stiff, to be honest with you. You really want to have that parabolic motion, so it's like when you, especially if you're casting and bringing it back, you want to be able to flip the jig. So as you're pumping it, you want the rod to be able to load and be flipping the jig. I think crankbait rods are a little too stiff. It probably would work, but it wouldn't be ideal. I mean, there's no doubt people getting bid on them. I mean, if you know how to work the jig, it doesn't matter so much. But it's definitely not one that I would recommend to people. Orange County, California, loves submission hooks. Hell yeah, man, that's awesome. You getting bid on those things or what? Renew your membership. Where California goes, the other states will follow. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much right. You know, California kind of sets the trend. Although I don't know if that's, I think that's getting less and less, fortunately. I think a lot of people are waking up, but yeah, they definitely used to be the case. I think a lot of people are leaving the state and kind of putting a stake in the ground, because it's funny, like especially out here, you'll see a lot of people like, don't bring your people are like kind of aware to it now, right? Like I feel like a lot of people left California and like went to Arizona, and then they basically like Californiaized Arizona. People were leaving the state, not understanding why they were leaving the state, and just turning it into like bringing their same voting. They don't know why they left California, so they just kept voting the same way, and then returning states that they were leaving. But I think a lot of people are waking up to it, you know, fortunately. And I think some of the states are kind of like being like, look, you can come here, but don't bring that nonsense with you. But yeah, that does tend to happen. You know, Texas, I think that happened a lot too. You know, Texas went from like being they were like a solid red state. And I mean, even there, purple and they're blue in some big cities, and even Texas isn't as red as it was. They kind of suffered the same thing. People leaving California and then going. But like here in Florida, which is funny, it's like the reverse. People are leaving California because they didn't like California, but they realized why they left. And it's like Florida turned like it was interesting because Florida went from like a swing state, like a purple state, to like turning into like one of the most red states, which is pretty crazy. You don't see that very much. It's like Texas went from like red to kind of purple. It's still red, and I think they're turning, but then Wyoming's same red. But yeah, political refugees, man, is right. It's crazy. You just got to know why you left. That's what I implore people to do. If you think California is like not working out for you, you got to realize why you're leaving and don't carry that baggage with you. It's crazy. Where do you guys go to join CCA? Just go to the website. I think it's ccacal.com. Um, you can join, you get a membership. There's a lot of good stuff too with a membership. Typically, there's always like a lot of times they have events or they have packages where you can like. I think they're still doing the fish. What I would implore you to do is they have a fishing tournament. The star tournament was going on. Is you can join the tournament and they give you a membership. Usually, whenever you do something with the CCA, it's a donation. So when you join, you get a membership with it. If I were you, I would join the star tournament. I'm part of the star tournament here in Florida, where it's usually a couple month long tournament. So if you're going to fish anyways, you join this tournament and you can win prizes. Basically, you go get a tape, like a measuring tape, and you have this app. And every time I catch fish, I basically just measure it with the CCA tape and um, put it in for entries. And then you basically get an entry to win in these tournaments. A lot of it's not big as fish. It's just like it kind of puts you in a drawing to win. So if you're going to fish anyways, I mean, that's the way to do it. I believe this year is the first year California is doing the star tournament too. So if you guys really go out there and make it a success, they'll probably continue to do it. I know it's huge here. Like in Florida here, they give away like multiple boats. What they do is they tag fish like redfish and Dorado and stuff like that. And if you like catch one of these tag fish, sure to win like $150,000 boat and stuff like that. Like it's crazy. It's a huge thing out here. And then, but you can still compete for the other stuff too. So they just kind of have a drawing. But Star Tournament is going on in California, so definitely check that out. That would be my advice. Join the Star Tournament, get your membership, and yeah, just continue to support those guys, man. It's you got to do it. I'll talk to some of the CCA guys. I'll reach out to Wayne. Like I know Captain Dan is a member of the CCA. He's the one that actually sent me this story. He emailed it to me. Like I said, I'm here halfway across the country, and he emailed it to me, which I'm grateful for. Um, so I can send that out to you guys and get the word out. But there's a lot of guys out there doing the good work. So I'll get in touch with them. Maybe I'll have one of them on and they can kind of let us know what they're doing as far as this goes. And yeah, kind of what the next steps are. I'm sure they'll probably have somebody at the hearings, stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't heard too many people talk about it. So it's definitely one of these things flying under the radar that they're trying to push on us in the dark and night. Captain Mud, we're so lucky to have DeSantis. It's true, dude. After living under, Newsom for a long time, if you're a fisherman, it's great. You know, it's it's definitely a different change. People. It's funny was I live here in California or in Florida, and it's like Cave Dog said it was funny you were a political refugee, and it's funny because you kind of have that same mindset. Like I come over here and it's like I warn people about all these things, especially like the anglers. I'm like, we got to do this. Like I'm so like paranoid about things that get passed or like watching um anytime the government tries to like creep in and take fishing rights away, and everybody out here is like, dude, you're paranoid or what's going on. But I guess Florida, nobody cares. But I'm like, dude, I came from a state where they hate fishermen and they take fishing rights and take the land away all the time. It's like I've come from a state, I've seen it happen, and it's like I don't want to let it happen here. I moved here because, you know, I brought my family here and I love fishing and everything like that. It's like I don't want to see the same kind of thing happen. But I can still prep from a distance, even though I'm not a resident there. Like I said, I'm still vested in California, and I'm still going to fight. I'll always fight for fishing rights, no matter where they are. Doesn't matter the state. If you guys got something, I'll bring it in. I won a bass fishing competition last. Oh, you won one? I think you said it won. I won a bass fishing competition last Sunday using submission hooks in Long Beach. Dude, that's freaking awesome, man. Congratulations. Yeah, that's legit, dude. I love hearing that stuff. Good stuff. Corey King says, "Ooh, sorry I'm late." It's all right, man. Better late than never. Cave Dog said, "You going to submission at sea?" Tell him, Cave Dog, get him in there. Sammy Prom, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Submission Fishing Pro staffer right there, Sammy Prom. Check him out. Becoming a force in the Spotty Bowl. Richie Rich, California needs a new governor. Yeah, good luck with that, man. I hope so. Corey King says, starts a trial after the trip. It's okay, dude. Still got time. It's all good, man. Glad you're still here showing up. Those of you guys that late, we were just talking MPAs and stuff like that. But yeah, aside from that, how's everybody's fishing? You guys been good? Catching, we went fishing Friday with Kevin, and it was pretty good. We went like 2 hours offshore, or was it Friday? It was Thursday. That's why I missed the show, unfortunately. Um, and it was crazy. We caught these cobia. Cobia out here are sort of like yellowtail fishing, in a sense. We were coming back. We actually got some huge mangrove snapper, and we caught another like massive ass barracuda. We were coming back, and there was like, dude, the turtles out here are like insane. These loggerhead turtles, like half the size of my boat. And Kevin's like, "Hey, slow down, man. There's a turtle here." It's like, okay. So we stop on the turtle. It's like patty fishing. He cast over by this like giant loggerhead turtle. I mean, some ways away. He wasn't on the turtle, and he's reeling it in. And these two big ass cobia just swimming on this lure. And one of them just exploded on it, dude, like 10 feet from the boat. I mean, it was pretty epic. We had the what was it? The OCT rod. So like basically my jig stick set up from California, we had rigged up, and he had like a stick bait on it, and it was pretty sick. He was on the bow of the boat. The whole thing just like rainbowed over when he caught it, like old school bend in the rod. And it was pretty sick. And brought in the cobia. It was just weird that they're like, because the cobia out here, they like swim with rays and sharks. And apparently they're on sea turtles too. I've never heard of that. I don't know if we just invented a new thing, but there was definitely cobia following these sea turtles, dude. It was pretty sick. Luis Mendez, what's going on, man? Glad you could join us. Just doing the YouTube show, but I've left it on Instagram for a while too. We've got a couple viewers coming in, because it's all good. That's right, man. Tell them. Semi Prom says offshore stunk last weekend, but I think the bite is coming back. Yeah, man, that sucks. So it goes too, right? Everything is just like popping off on fire, people catching fish left and right. And then, of course, you get on that one trip and it's just like, it's bad. Did they even try for rockfish? I mean, that's like the one guarantee you could. Rockfish are like, they always bite. It seems like it doesn't matter what. When fishing is bad. It's at least in California, there are no rockfish in Florida, but California, you're like, hey, just go find some rockfish grounds. I actually like rock fishing a lot. I enjoy it the hell out of it. I know a lot of people kind of think it's like everybody wants to chase the bluefin and everything else, but I actually really enjoy rock fishing. Maybe because they're such a good jig fish. They love the slow pitch jigs. Like, it's a blast. Sammy said, jumping on the Old Glory Saturday night. Hell yeah, man. Good luck. Want a yellowtail on the 80-gram ogre? Yeah, I think you get it. The 60-gram. Actually, so when we had the submission at sea, I think it was the first submission at sea. We went to Catalina, and we were getting a lot on the 60-gram jig, and I was getting them on like the 130-gram javelin. The 80-gram will smoke them too. I've caught them on the 80-gram jig. But the 60-gram, if you cast it, especially if you're fishing patties, get a 60-gram, just cast it on the patty, let it fall, reel it up, let it fall. Dude, we were smashing yellowtail. I think Jeff was out there, and he was fishing the 60-gram in like 100. I think we were in like maybe like 115 feet of water, and he was just vertical fishing a 60-gram mercenary. He was getting, I think he caught 2 yellowtail. He caught like more than anybody on the boat with the 60-gram submission mercenary. 80-gram ogre, that's another great jig too, dude. Yeah, you'll smoke him. If you get on a rock pile, you'll find him for sure. Heap Dog says, Old Glory's fishy. I don't know if I've been on the Old Glory. I probably have. I feel like I've been on like every boat. in Southern California, but I know there's some I've obviously haven't been on, but I don't remember like the names anymore. Corey King says 15-gram sumo was fire Saturday in SD Bay. Bream Dream. Yeah, dude, that Bream Dream, that new color's been smoking it. Kivzak said he was bouncing Yellowtail with the 60-gram. Hell yeah, man. I know you were bouncing that. You bounced that Dorado that one time. I think that was the second submission at sea. But yeah, guys, we do got the new, remember, submission at sea is coming up. We're doing a 2-day this time. 2 days at sea. October 23rd, I'm sorry, through October 25th. I think it'll be a good late season trip. We're going to try to go way out there and fish kind of some uncharted zones. Like somebody said, you don't have to be a master fisherman if you guys just want to learn. You know, I'm more than happy to teach you guys what I know and they get bit. I think it's going to be a great trip. It should be fun. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you learned something. Go fight for the MPAs. Spread the word. Put it down on Instagram. Maybe I'll make an infographic, I think, that maybe I'll share and then you guys can share so we can get the word out. Don't let them take 16 more miles of fishing ground in Point Loma. You got to fight, guys. Got to fight for our fishing lands. Appreciate you guys joining me. See you next week. I know it took a couple weeks off. We'll be back on the regular schedule. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, email me. If you guys want your jigs, you know, obviously check out your local tackle stores, submissionfishing.com. You guys know where to find them. Appreciate all the support. I love you guys and see you on the next one. Oos.